Welcome back to part two. I told you we had such great conversation the last time with David.
Yes.
That we are now ready for part two to kind of go a little bit more in depth of this conversation.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and but first, you'll see we have a new guest.
We do.
Yes, we do. They're like, wait a minute, this is part two and we see somebody extra over here. So please welcome Dr. Kimberly Golden. Now, Dr. Kimberly Golden, I know that so many of you all know this lovely, beautiful face. She is a financial services professional. You are also a holistic coach. And then, of course, most of our viewers, you know she is one of the hosts of the Kim and O Show. That comes on WVOL every Sunday at 2 o'clock?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock
3 o'clock
p.m.
central.
So we are so excited to have you for part two. And we're just going to kind of jump right into the conversation that we had going with David, which was really great.
Okay. I think we talked about how do you rebound from divorce and dating. Okay. And so, it's almost like a scarlet letter to me to be divorced twice.
Yes, thank you for that,
Yes,
David.
a scarlet letter.
Yes.
And so, it's hard to explain everything when you meet somebody. Two divorce,
Right.
2 times divorce.
Yes.
I had somebody not call me back because I divorced twice.
Just like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you said
You're a cray
that.
cray. You're a cray cray.
Right.
And so that's the hard part, but also, how many times do you put yourself out there? Do you kind of curtail it back some, or do you? I'm very transparent, but however, being married, man, it's a lot that goes into it. And so, being twice divorced and trying to explain that, it's almost scary in a sense.
It is.
And so you can't help but kind of like say, and this is normal. There's something wrong with him.
Right.
There's something wrong with her. What's really going on?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I found that difficult part of it, but also, I bring a lot to the table. I got divorced. My dad had died. It was just me on my own, and have a dog, and going through some stuff like that. And so, who can really handle that?
Right.
You say you can.
Yeah. But you know what? At the end of part one, you started talking about the counseling and how you had called the 1-800 number, and I just think that's so important. So talk a little bit about that, because that getting that help, and reaching out is so important with healing yourself. Right? Oh, take a draw. Okay, take a sip. You don't take a sip. And me too. We're going to take a sip together.
Take a sip.
I think, first of all, you have to realize that there's a problem with yourself. I've had 2 friends that commit suicide. Okay? And it pains me that they would not reach out. Well, I didn't see any signs. Most people that do stuff like that or have done it don't show any signs that they're hurting. And so I knew something was wrong, and I really had to break myself down and build myself up to even have this conversation.
Right.
There was a time when I can have this conversation without crying, without feeling terribly bad about myself. And so that's why I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah.
We have our community, man, just as much as we're good, we're bad. I love my black people, but man, we do some effed up stuff sometimes. We love to say, you crazy. Something ain't right with you.
We judge you.
Oh my God, we judge you. And so what that does, that sinks us in the deeper hole.
Yeah.
Okay? And so that's why on my podcast, or when I talk to anybody, man, I'm in therapy.
Yeah.
You're not by yourself. Talk to me. Inbox me. We can pray together. I can give you information to get therapy. See what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's just like I can't run that race for you. And so for me, a lot of tough nights. Tough, but not figuring out, what's going on. And I gotta admit, there were times when I thought about hurting myself because this pain is just so difficult.
Yeah.
And so anybody knows me know I love my father, man. I love my father. But to see my father go through cancer and Crohn's disease and low blood pressure, and all this other stuff. Watching die before my eyes was tough. And then on top of that, get a divorce like 6 months prior to that.
Yeah.
It's tough.
That's a lot.
You see what I'm saying? And so then the very thing I had as a buffer between my pain was gone.
Yeah.
I would get off work and run home and take care of him, and then that's gone. So now the house is just kind of closing in. That noise of him being there is no longer there. So these walls are just like, my God, what's going on? And I feel like I'm ready to bust. I'm gonna walk in time bomb.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you don't let it out. You're just, how many people are locked up because of a split second decision?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just and then 24 hours later, they're not even mad anymore.
Right.
And I was on that verge, that line of just trying to just figure it out. And so I figured, you know what, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And so the man you see now is somebody that's not afraid to say, I choose me. We talked about it off camera. Choosing me for the first time was scary.
Yes.
Why am I scared to say,
Yeah.
I love me more than I love you? Women say it to men all the time. That's why we talk about percentages.
Yeah.
When women divorce a man, they're choosing themselves. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
It's not anything wrong with it.
Right. Right.
You have a right to choose yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think sometimes women choose it too soon.
They don't stay in fight.
So sometimes something that, now I'm not, if a man is hitting on you,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
a serial
Yeah.
cheater,
Right.
he got babies, you know
So,
what I'm saying?
right.
Okay,
There's
okay,
certain
okay,
reasons,
I'm
right.
fine.
But putting that to the side.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, that's the
Yeah.
extreme.
Right. Yeah.
But just trying to co-mingle,
Yes.
communicate.
Yes.
I think in me being a little naive, I think those things are workable.
They are.
You see what I'm saying? But this damn phone, y'all know this phone is treacherous. It's full of highlights, full of fun.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
full of good times. You know what I'm saying? It's full of the good stuff.
Right.
You know, you got money. You don't talk about when the bills we do.
Right.
Everybody broke on the second of the month. Not the first, but the
Right.
second. Everything paid for, you just trying to get to the next day.
Right.
And so, that's what I was going through.
Yeah.
And so, I just have a low tolerance for that type of stuff. I'm gonna tell you something, man. My first wife would always yell at me. And to this day, I can't stand to be yelled at. That is a non-negotiable. If you yell at me, I will sit down and be quiet and just, I'm good for the rest of the day. I cannot, because I didn't raise up in a household like that.
That's right.
And couldn't find out, she was raised in a household
That was
like that. So she would go off, and then this is just not her fault. We just talked about it. I can recall her going off on me and just going to level 12. I'm like, that's a little excessive.
Yeah.
It's because of what she's seen. Everything comes from a beginning of something. And I've learned that through these processes.
Simple quick question. How did you get to the point where you accepted the fact that you needed counseling? Because what I find with most men is that's something that they rarely do. Men rarely go to counseling. They feel like that's something that they can handle on their own. Oftentimes men will say, well, you're soft if you have to go to counseling. How did you get to that place where you said, you know what, I need help? And number two, how were you able to then translate that? You said that you share with other men. How are you able to translate that and are men actually receiving that they too need help? Because they're quick to tell us we need help.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's just the second question. I forgot the first one. But the second one, man, we use it as a defense mechanism. There's something wrong with you. Ain't no wrong. Ain't no wrong with you. It's got to be you. But a lot of times, it's our own trauma. You see what I'm saying? It's the things that we've been through, and it goes undealt with, unworked on. It just stays dormant. It's okay. We'll sweep it under the rug. And so, just like women bring luggage or baggage to a relationship, so do we. But because of this tough guy attitude, this I'm stronger than you, I'm bigger than you, nothing wrong with me. No, it's a lot of things wrong. And so, it's almost like an epidemic, in huge proportions. Everybody with the world that we're in, the police, the drugs, the crime, we are all affected by it. We all suffer from PTSD. And so we never realize that, and we never speak on it.
So when you reached out that first time, where did you find the number? Like how did you even?
Well, I worked in the Metro at that time, and so they give you tons of stuff that you can call. Somebody abusing you, you got money issues, you got trouble with an employee, but also with therapy. And I called the number, my second wife asked me to call it, and then I just started going down that road of realizing something is wrong. You know, seeing your parents get old. My mother had Alzheimer's. Not recognizing me or my brother or my dad. That, you know, having to bathe my mother. That stuff, you know, that stuff is just, you know, I love my mom, but I don't want to sit naked. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things hurt you and they harm you. My mother would get in the car and drive off, we can't find her. Those are things that we're not equipped to see. See, those soldiers that see death in Iraq, we're not conditioned to see that kind of stuff. It affects us. And anybody know who my daddy was? My hero. I love my dad. And he suffered from everything. He died 2020, like 7 in the morning. And just seeing him in the bed is there. I'm like, man, it's cold blooded. You know, and died at 84 years old and done everything for my mom, done everything for us. But to see him like that, and my dad would always say, you know, I just want to be independent, just a little bit.
Do you think that there are more men today, now that you said a lot of them kind of reach out to you, are they do you feel like they are really open to getting that help and that therapy?
You know, we live in such a tough guy era. I doubt. But you can see behavior though. Men that still have a bunch of women, men that, I'm telling you all kind of lock stuff, I don't care. Men that are promiscuous, men that lie, cheat, steal.
Not dealing with the true issues.
Absolutely. You can't help but need help in today's time. And so what you don't do spills over to your children because they see your behavior. And so I'm not saying I have all the answers. I just knew for me, I was the person that I was. And I made mistakes obviously, but I knew therapy was the first step in the right direction. I have maybe 9 or 10 books that I journal in, and sometimes I go back and see when I first was going through the divorce, and I was angry to like a month ago, it's totally different.
Seeing that growth and that working through that.
Right. And so
how has that helped you just sort of unpacking your feelings and dealing with the past, just diving right into that self-loathing and kind of working through it? How has that helped you now that you're single again?
Right.
You're back in the dating market, I'm assuming.
Right.
And you're navigating relationships, and the relationship game is probably very different than it was when you were dating your wives.
Very tough. See why? See that just
You just had to cut us.
We were doing good too. We were doing good.
I'll attack.
I want us all to answer that question because we're all in the dating, pool now that they say has pee in it. But
It just sounds so bad.
it does. It sounds awful.
It does, but I will say, it is difficult. Nothing is easy nowadays. For me, I still deal with it. It's just not easy. I mean, there are some days when it gets tough.
What's the hard part?
The hard part is not having anybody to share that with. That particular dark part of it. See, that's why we have the highlights. I talked about it earlier. The phone is full of highlights. What about the tough times when I don't want to get out of bed? Because I bought the family home, so I still hear my dad walking around. I still hear the steps creaking a little bit.
Well, the problem that we as women face in that same arena, the problem that we face is that you guys won't talk about it to us. So you find that many men will mask. You said that you don't have anyone to share it with. We find that when we do enter in relationships with men, that they don't want to share, they choose not to. So it shows in their actions, it shows in their nonverbal cues, and we're literally practically begging for the information because we want to help We want to be there, and we want to be able to share our pain too without feeling judged.
Right.
But oftentimes there's this closed off, nothing's wrong, and he puts that Superman S on his chest, and we're left with a very hard disconnect.
Well, the problem is, here's the problem. Y'all ain't got me drinking here. Here's the problem. The problem is that there are women that don't require that. That's the problem.
Yes.
Okay.
See, because you have standards and you deserve to have standards, there are women that don't have standards.
Which would you prefer though?
No, I got to have standards because for me, I'm going to give. I'm saying I'm just this guy that just tells everything. I'm just saying if I'm having a tough day, I got to have somebody to talk to. I got to have somebody. And what if I feel like crying? Because we are all the same. Okay, we all don't like our job at times. Money is tight at times.
Just
life be life. And so the fun person really is a detriment to your relationship.
But maybe you want someone with standards because you have them. You have gone through therapy. You have done your self-work. And you are ready to meet someone that's on that level that you're on. But if you have gotten out of a marriage or a relationship and you haven't really reflected and done the work, you get back into a new relationship and you're emotionally unavailable. Like you haven't even dealt with yourself. So I can't access you no matter how much I love you, no matter how good the attraction is or how much I try. I keep hitting a wall. It's like I used to tell one of my exes that dating him was like diving into a pool and you think it's deep, but it's 3 feet. You hit your head right away. It's shallow. It's just like I can't swim no deeper with you because there's a wall there. So I do think, to your point, that you want what's at the level of the work that you have done on yourself.
And I can't tolerate anything other than that because I put myself out there, I'm choosing myself, and I deserve that. And to your point as well, it's just tough out here because they don't have to be deep. Everything can be surface. Imagine having just a fun person you talk to and it's always good, but over time, it's going to get to where it's deeper than that. And so
they're not like us.
No, they're not like us. And so people, and this I said this years ago, people treat relationships like a lease car program. Okay? A lease car program.
5 years, y'all.
See, a lease car because
Train years.
the first couple of years, you got the new car smell, you don't need no maintenance on it, and then year number 3, all the engine light come on. And what do? We trade it in. That's the easy part. The problem is, a lot of women have standards, but there are more that don't. And those women haven't dealt with their issues, and it's painful.
You think there's more women out there that
I think it's even. Everything is even.
Women who don't have standards and men who lack emotional intelligence.
It's all even. And so you have men that, hey, you got some that do go deeper, and you got some that don't. And they typically find women that just want to have fun until they get tired.
No.
It's nothing, and you can ride your wave. You can ride that wave until you get old, and then you pass away.
That's a season, I think.
But it's something special about having somebody to ride that wave with. That's why we try marriage. We roll the dice. You see what I'm saying? And so it sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I look at these experiences, and it wasn't all bad. It just I didn't have the bandwidth to handle the bad stuff.
Let me go. I'm going to come over here to Dr. Kimberly.
Go to the doctor.
Because we have not, because we talked about, of course, Tiffany is single. And of course, David and I have been divorced twice.
Thank you for you too. Thank you, my goodness. It don't sound like what Tiffany said. 2 times. He married 2 times. 2 whole times.
2 wives.
2 wives.
So what is yours? You are divorced?
I am divorced.
Okay. So just one time.
More than once, and I'm not going to say my number.
Okay, great. So
More
do you?
than once.
Okay. So
yes,
do
so
you
I can
feel
resonate.
Like
yes.
Okay, so you can relate to this. That's
yes.
great. So tell us, how do you feel now being divorced and out there now dating, do you feel like there's that, negativity that's associated with you being divorced?
Yes, there is a stigma,
Yes.
associated
Yes.
with being divorced, especially more than once, because again, to the same points that you all made, people judge you very quickly.
Yes.
So the minute you say that I've been divorced more than once, immediately the eyes go to you. Well, what's wrong with you? What did you do?
Yeah.
It must be you, because apparently, you've messed up more than a few times.
Right.
And so, that said, there is that stigma, which along with that comes a bit of shame. It makes it very difficult to have very open and honest conversations when you're dating, because immediately, as soon as you say that you've been married more than one time, immediately there's that quote unquote a red flag. And they don't even take time to peel back the layers to understand what's wrong, because you could have been at a place where, as you mentioned, maybe you were hurting, maybe there were things that were going on where you made unwise choices. It's not always the fact that you were crazy or that you were necessarily doing something wrong. Some people just make unwise, uninformed choices. For me, it came as a result of abuses that have occurred in the past. I've been molested, raped, etc. That's the story of many women, right? And so as such, I made a lot of uninformed choices, and I went for the guys that I could help. Right, so I was one of those women that want to help and pick up a man and coddle him and try to make him better, right? But at the end of the day, I realized that it was helping him was hurting me. So I had to, as you said, I had to choose myself.
That's right.
And so in me choosing myself at this point in time in my life, being divorced, I feel free at this point in time. However, in this dating pool, I feel very stuck. Yes, because of the things that we're speaking of now. Just there's so many challenges, especially for a black woman. I believe that the black woman is really getting a bad rap in this day and time. We are more successful in the work arena. More of us are entrepreneurs. We're doing better with our finances. We're working on ourselves. We're building ourselves up. We're calling each other queen.
I got a question.
Working on one another.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Do you think that women with more education are hard to deal with?
I do not think that women with more education are more difficult to deal with.
That's what we think.
Right, and I understand that, and that's another stigma. That's another because just because a woman is educated and she speaks on a certain level, you'd be surprised. Women don't automatically judge a man. If she has a doctorate degree and he has an associate's degree, she's not going to discount him because he has the associate's degree. That's not an issue for the woman. However, oftentimes you'll find the opposite, that the man will come in and he'll say he's fine with it and applaud the woman, only to find out later that he has his own insecurities and he actually, bounces those off his woman. And
So when those insecurities show up, they try to humble the woman in little microaggressive ways.
Correct. Passive aggressive ways. Often
because of his insecurities and really for no reason, because just like you said, we're not even
thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
We just want, typically most women, just want a man that is going to accept her as she is and is going to be that support, and of course, the other things on the list, right? But for him to be her quote unquote equal educationally is not a requirement, because he might not have the paper, but he may just be just as intelligent as she is, and he still brings things to the table, and women recognize that.
And it's not realistic either, because how many unions are you going to find where two people are exactly on the same page? I mean, it would be very limited relationships.
I got another question.
Okay.
I'm on fire right now. Let me ask you this, when a person says, what do you bring to the table, is that offensive?
It depends on why the spirit in which they're asking.
Because I've heard a lot of women say, that's disrespectful. by saying, what do I bring to the table?
I have an automatic answer for that question.
Okay, what's
I
that?
bring the honey to the table, so
Understand
you
that.
can figure that out if you
Okay.
want to.
Okay, I just get that a lot. You know, that's disrespectful. That's not a fair question. But men are supposed to be able to handle any question. And I don't think it's a bad question. It's also kind of like a time where a woman can kind of explain herself in a sense.
It kind of puts you on defense though, because it
I
is
can see
a
that.
question to surmise your value. And so I think when you ask a question like that, there's a hint of disrespect in it, because it's not really giving you the opportunity to show up authentically. It's putting you in the pressure seat where you have to give, you know, this great answer with the hopes of impressing you with my answer. And I don't like that energy.
Maybe another way to ask it. I'm trying to think of another way what you want. Yeah.
That, and I think the question comes
Take
from
your time and get to figure out what I bring to the table.
Correct.
If you don't
That's
have the
what
time,
You really don't have to
do
ask
it.
actions.
You
Yeah.
can
Spending
actually see
time,
it if you observe the
communicating.
person.
Very true.
I
Very
think the
true.
question comes from
Okay.
women needing $300 first date dinners. Women, some women.
Okay. I know. I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I
You know what I'm
know.
saying? It's like
Okay.
a man has to make this.
Yeah.
You have to spend this on the first date. So again, we're battling one another.
I think too, some of this comes from this Instagram and social
Oh,
media.
good.
We
I
see
have
all
The
that.
phone is out
Like
there with that.
everyday women, I don't
phone.
think we're sitting up there saying that
No.
you need to spend X
Nobody's
amount.
saying
No
that.
one is
Absolutely
saying
not.
that. That's what gets hyped up on social media and passed
Correct.
around. And then people assume that all black women want you to take them to this, 5-star restaurant and spend
Correct.
$300. That is, I'm telling you
It's
now,
false.
that is false.
It's false.
That is false. You want to? This is true. That is so false, and that's what gets played up.
That is true.
Have you really been out now that you're dating? Have you been out with women that have expected that, required that?
Yeah, a couple of times. Not $300, but just a little bit. And I understand it. I mean, it's a fair exchange of energy. I've always thought that it doesn't
Why is that
take,
fair though? Why would you need to take someone out and spend $300?
because
How is that fair?
because there are some people there's some men that would do it. I mean, not the men that would do it. I think that meeting someone at a restaurant and just talking, communication,
That's what's
Starbucks,
important. That's what's
a Mexican
important.
restaurant, talking and stuff, that's
That's right.
fair. However,
Okay.
there are a large community that wants a roof Chris. So it's everything 50%, everything is a balance. You know what I'm saying? There's no community bigger than the other. There's some that don't, there's some that will.
Are you speaking like first date?
First
The
date, everything the first date. Everything first date. Now see, you guys are mature women. Y'all are, how many men have been in the room with 3 doctors? Let me finish. I'm just saying, it's 3 doctors somewhere. I'm feeling good right now because I don't have a doctorate, but I feel empowered by you women, and you women see things that young people don't see. So your perspective is a little bit different. Y'all want conversation. Y'all want somebody who will listen. You want somebody that's not judgmental. Well, based on the phone, a lot of people live by the phone. $200 meal, $400 meal. See, so you got to kind of weigh it just a little differently. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not like that, but if somebody want to take you there, y'all will say, that's a little excessive. Let's get to know each other first. You see what I'm saying? Now some guys are taking these young girls on trips on the first date.
Yes, because they require that.
They require that.
It's the young girls.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
And those are the relationships that will not work. They won't.
Well,
Those are the
it's
ones that will
transaction.
not. Yeah.
It's transaction.
I mean,
That's a whole other segment.
it's a whole. Now we're gonna have a part 3 in a minute.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
But is that what you really want, though? Do you want the transaction? Because I'm finding that more men over the age of 40 are exploring, dating the millennials, dating, 20s, 30s, for the transaction, for the trophy.
Yeah.
Correct. And so they like the look. They like being looked up to.
Right.
Yes.
And so, because of that, they pursue that only to find out that, hey, this isn't all what it's cracked up to be. And then the black woman gets the label, all of us.
Well, no one said it was fair.
Yeah.
No one said it was fair. There are some friends, I'm going to say this.
And pretty girls getting $300 dinners, that's not fair either, but it's okay.
Somebody would do it. Somebody, I mean, whatever you want to do, the problem is, we talked about this earlier, there's somebody that will do it. You see what I'm saying?
Is there something wrong with that then?
Nope, there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. There's some men that will pay 100% of the bills.
But what is the expectation after that though?
Yeah.
Because see, that's where I have an issue too, is that the man feeling like, okay, yeah, I'm just spending $300 on this meal, but I have an expectation afterwards too.
There's the transaction. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. I mean, it's so convoluted, and if we're not careful, this war of sexes
My
will
goodness.
last forever.
And when does it? That's what I was gonna say. When does it end?
It
like
doesn't
I'm
end.
53. Like, and it's still some of these games are being played. When do we grow?
wow.
When do we learn? You know, when can we really date and have that transparency, that vulnerable, you know, being able to be vulnerable with each other, get to know each other. When can we get to that point?
You just have to have two emotionally mature people.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. That's
How do
it.
you
That's
find
it.
that
True.
with those two people?
You attract
Yes.
a person like you by
right,
being
right.
that person yourself.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Because you're not going to deal
Okay.
with it.
Okay. I'm back over here. Okay.
However,
Mhm.
it seems to me in this day and time that the black man no longer wants to invest that time in emotional intelligence and finding what's underneath the hood and, you know, learning about that woman. What he would prefer to do is date outside his race. So the black woman gets pushed aside and we get labeled as angry. We get labeled as condescending, and they date outside the race, and then they parade another woman as the trophy.
You have an answer for that, David?
Who's getting hot as hell? There is some validity to that. But I think that men our age, if you go back to our childhood, what was the most beautiful woman that we saw every day? It was a white woman.
Yeah.
On the billboards,
I agree.
on the commercials,
Yes.
the TV show.
That's true.
That's
So
very true.
now, when there are some black men that finally make a couple of dollars, and you know, as your finances rise, your environment changes.
True. Well,
So now you're in meetings to where you may be the only black in that meeting. That's true. It's not fair. So now it kind of taps into that now again. Should he date a white woman? I don't know. I don't think I could be intimate emotionally with a white woman. Okay? I love my black women, but at the same time, it's like, okay, love is love.
yeah. I say love who you love, but
Yeah.
don't kind of down the black woman and just like to Kim's
Right.
point, she's angry,
And
she's
elevate.
this, and you want to
But
elevate
see,
this other
one
guy.
don't go with the other. Black women gonna feel that way anyway. If I come to a place, if I take a white woman to TSU homecoming and walk down Jefferson Street, hold hands, white woman, yeah, it's just different, okay? I would never in a million years walk down Jefferson Street and TSU homecoming with a white woman, unless
I just
it's.
want you to do it so I can record it. I just want to record it.
We should just take some
I just want you to do it so I can record it.
You
Just
record
capture
the,
it.
I'm
Oh,
gonna record the
goodness.
crowd around it.
The crowd was spread like the Red Sea, like, this Negro here, don't you think?
He done lost his mind.
I would be so afraid. Yeah, matching t-shirts on. Her face on my t-shirt,
Oh, my
and
God.
my face on her t-shirt. We holding
We should
hands.
do it. We should do that.
Oh my goodness. I would be so afraid.
But do you feel like you'd be applauded by the men though?
Oh, hell yeah.
Really?
Ooh.
Did you say yes?
Let me tell you something.
They
Let me tell you
would.
something.
I can see it.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I
Okay.
shouldn't be saying this, black men. They done got me drunk in here. I feel like
Because he does not have coffee and that.
it's not coffee.
No coffee.
You would be surprised of the amount of men that are just tired.
Okay.
They're tired.
Mm-hmm.
Of
And
black
so,
women?
of black women. And so now, if you go on Instagram, you see, I think it's called, not guys, passport boys.
Passport bro.
Passport bros. They
I
go
think I've seen that.
to overseas.
Yes. They
And
go
date
to-
women, have sex with women. I'm not telling them, it's on Instagram. You see what I'm saying? And so what you're having is, and we're not careful, and I'm gonna get spiritual for a second.
Okay. Okay.
The devil is working overtime
Show
to
is.
put a splinter into our relationship.
Oh, completely.
Okay.
Completely agree.
And so I just got a inbox from a friend that says, and she sent me somebody that posted it, that they're tired of the battle of the sexes. When can we get back to loving one another?
Yeah.
And that is the truth. And so people have fallen for the banana in the tip.
Yeah.
Why not work on our community?
Yes.
But you go overseas, and man, listen, you paying for it, but it's just a relief because black women bring a lot to the table of undiagnosed trauma, and men are tired. Men bring undiagnosed trauma to the table, and women are tired. So it's forcing us to go outside of our race. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, but we're forced to do that because we're tired. And we talked about this earlier of putting in the work. The work is, listen, the work ain't fair. Y'all are 3 doctors. Some of y'all work 7 days a week to do your dissertation, 100-page dissertation. It ain't fair. It's long, it's hard. Your eyes are hurt from looking at the computer, but that's what it takes. And some men don't want to put that work in because it forces you to be naked, to be transparent, and it's scary. And the first time you hurt, this is separates men from women. Women can be hurt 9 times, but we try the 10th time. You hurt a man 1 time. My second divorce, I was done with it. Couldn't stand him. And I was just unavailable because I didn't know how to deal with that pain until all the other stuff I worked on it. But it's just tough. You see what I'm saying? And so that is the problem. Y'all are making 100%. Y'all making sense. But it's gonna take a different kind of brother to deal with y'all that's tired of the nonsense. Okay? Because we're gonna be 65 before you know it.
It's around the corner. You're right.
I never thought I'd get to 54.
Yeah.
Took my son home. We was on Peachtree in Atlanta, leaving Piedmont Hospital, and next thing you know, this dude is 21, laying on my sofa eating all my food.
But that is such an issue, and it's an issue because I was always taught before that men underneath they tend to look for their mama. So you were talking about the images that you see. Well, when did men stop looking for their mom in the next relationship? When did they start? Because women, that's what we look for. Up underneath, we kind of, most of us, if you had a good daddy, you look for characteristics of your father in your mate. So we're looking at that strong black man, that father figure. We're looking for those characteristics in a mate. When did black men stop doing that? That's number one. And the other thing is, I just think that it's not just a relationship issue. The black community is separated in so many ways. In finance, we'll go and we'll purchase from any other community, but we won't build up our own. We act like crabs in a barrel when it comes to finances. What happened to Black Wall Street, right? And so historically, I feel like we tear each other down. I have no issue when it comes to interracial relationships. I have people in my family that have them. I'm fine with that. But when it comes to I must go outside of my race because I can't find anything good within my race. Are you really hating on that black woman, or do you hate yourself?
Good point. Very good point.
That is an amazing point.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's a combination of all that. Unsure. Do women that are not black, do they complain a lot? Do they don't? I don't know. Look at that person. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you locker room talk. Okay?
I just want to give a little perspective since you brought up the passport bros, because I went on a trip to the DR for my birthday, and I was with a gentleman that kept pointing out a passport bro. That's one.
Yeah.
That's one, because you can really tell. It was so many black men on my flight.
Yeah.
I have never been on a plane with so many black men going to the same place at the same time. They weren't all together.
Right.
But they was headed over there.
Right.
So he's pointing them out, and you can tell that she's placating to him. She's doing everything she has to do to So, but when he leaves, her legs gonna still be open to whoever else it is. So is that feeling of being kind of just completely catered to, and for a woman to really be in that role of submission,
Right.
so important that you don't care about what her lifestyle is, you don't care about
Right.
if y'all have the same values. Like, is it really to that point?
Well,
Because you gotta have a lot of money to close her legs if that's what she does on the island. You got to have the money to put
True,
her in a
true,
house,
true,
support
true.
her lifestyle, and close her legs.
True. But let me say this.
I
No,
you
no,
might
no,
not
no.
know the answer.
No, no,
I'm just
I
making
do.
an observation because.
I kind of know the answer.
Okay.
Do you? Okay.
I kind of know the answer.
Okay.
The issue is there are some men that just like sex.
That's not an issue.
No. Some men, if you're willing to fly 2,000 miles, it's not just about sex. It's something deeper than that. Okay? I think that those men still put sex as a super priority in their life.
Mm-hmm.
At 54, it's not much as a priority. Intimacy is a priority. Having a nice home, having a decent amount of money, having a home where there's love and I'm the king of my castle. That's more important than sex. I'm not saying it's not important.
Yeah.
There's other things that are more important.
And you had that growing up, so I
Exactly.
can see why.
So work-life balance is important.
Right.
Yeah.
If me and you are married, okay, and me and my friend talked about this the other day, just yesterday. Man, I wish I could say his name, but I can't. We talked about, it was this couple on Instagram, they was debating sex and stuff. And she was saying that 20 times a month is how many times she want her husband to be with her. And he and I was talking, he said that's a little excessive. And I said, well, what's a good number? I know you single, so. I said,
You
so,
keep saying that.
I know. I'm just saying, I mean, some people with her.
Well, no, yeah. Well,
And
something else, but go
so
ahead.
he said a good number was 4 times a month. Now, it may not sound like a lot, but once a week where you can really be engaged and you put sex in the mix of work-life balance. It's hard when you both have careers. He and his wife have incredible
Right.
money-making careers with 3 kids.
Yeah.
They don't have time.
Right. That's yeah.
But once a week, 4 times a month, they can get as crazy as they want to.
Right.
I think people would subscribe to that as opposed to 20 short encounters. And I just subscribe to that. At 54, I never thought I would think like that. Opposed to 24, the number is astronomical. But you try to make a career, provide for your kids, pay your bills, still be a good person, not get carjacked or killed by the police. All this stuff matters. By the time you get home, sex is the last thing on your mind. Your daughter is running to you. She won't tell you about her day. Your son is running to you. You get in the bed, then your wife got something, y'all got something to say. Then your wife got to tell you about her day. She don't like her coworker. You're like, goddamn. And next thing you know, she's talking. And then next thing you know, hey man, listen, I want to go to sleep. But on that Thursday at 10 o'clock, that's our night.
Yeah.
But we just put everything in the bed and we can be. I'm just
And
saying.
in relationships like that too, there's more to intimacy than just the sexual part. So there's a lot of conversations, us holding each other.
And so he said, I'm saying
what's wrong with just sex? What's wrong with being your husband's hot ass wife?
Absolutely.
Like, he come home from work and you be ready.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely
what's wrong with
nothing.
it? Just
There's nothing wrong with
no,
it.
for real. Like, I never
nothing.
want a boring marriage
No,
where
no.
once a month. is-
No.
And
no,
definitely
no,
not scheduled.
No.
No.
But he was putting a number, which I think is,
Right.
at least once a week you should be, at least.
That's
And of
right.
course, depending on the relationship, it might be more.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is there's also intimacy and other things outside of sex that are just as important.
Exactly. And so
they
he
are.
said, I'm be quiet, I'm just talking. This
The
is what he
men
said.
need sex.
This is what he said. He said he can handle 1 time a week, but intimacy has to be every day.
Yes,
You gotta
I like
kiss me
that.
every day.
Exactly.
You gotta hold my
Exactly.
hand every day.
Exactly.
You have to be connected to me every day.
Exactly.
So that's the
Yes.
build
That's-
up
that's-
to
yes,
that
to
day.
that exactly.
I'm
There we
preaching
go.
here. I'm
There we
preaching.
go. There
I'm giving y'all
exactly.
free game here. And so what that does, what that does,
Yes.
a touch means more.
Yes.
A kiss means more.
Yes. You being open to hear what happened this day, him being able to release and be open. That is something.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yes.
And so, you
Yes.
know how hard it is to be
Mhm.
successful. You guys have your doctors. That stuff ain't easy. And somebody on your shoulder all the time, you got a paper due, man, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
It just don't work like backwards. It just don't work that way. It don't add up
Another question.
anything. I'm on fire today.
So back to the black woman and the black man. Do you find that, well, I'm just going to say it and you can respond. I think too, part of the problem is that oftentimes we don't want to be accountable. I think that in this day and time, especially with black women who are over 40, we expect accountability, and we will practically demand that. When it comes to women, some women of other races, they may not command that, right? Or they may not expect that. So it's more of cater without any expectation of reciprocation, or because I have asked many black men who find themselves in relationships in other races. I'll ask them, what is it? I just want to know. I'm not condemning you. You love who you love. But what was it that turned you away from the black woman? And every single time I get answers like, she caters to me. I fell asleep and I woke up and she had cleaned my shoes. That she's at my beck and call. She gives me everything I need. Well, black women do those things, but then we also expect some level of reciprocation, and we do expect accountability and communication. And I find that a lot of men may be intimidated by that or put off by that, and instead, then again, here we go again with labeling the black woman as being difficult or argumentative.
Man, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Accountability. And we talked about this before you got here. Why does a man have to be accountable when there are others that don't need for him to be accountable?
It's to be better, and you should want to be better.
But no, men don't. See, you're asking for the perfect man. Some men don't want to be better. If I don't tell you have issues, think about it. If a man doesn't address his issues, he's gonna feel like he don't have them. And so you're gonna ask him, y'all are different. Okay? Y'all, and I'm saying y'all are different, and y'all can hide behind that y'all at the top of your field. So you've been accountable through your journey to get to where you're going, and you expect it in your personal life. Some men don't want to be accountable because there is a large portion of women that don't want that. Would you believe that there are some women that revel in being the side chick?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Can you
believe
imagine
that.
that? I have a friend.
Yes.
You know what? No, that she know what I'm talking about. Let's talk about it. I'm just saying that there are people that are beautiful, that are wife material, but they settled in being the second or even the third person in somebody's life.
Yeah.
Y'all don't subscribe to that. Y'all probably had a season when y'all got crazy. I'm just saying, as you get older, it doesn't resonate with strong women. You see what I'm saying? And so strong women is vast. People can be strong being number 2. They can be strong in number 3. They can be strong as someone's immediate lover or girlfriend.
There are probably some strong women out there now that are side chicks that are saying, hey, I'm strong, but I'm choosing to be a side chick because I'm okay with being in this particular position because I don't want to be number 1. I've got my own thing going. I'm just putting it out there. This is not me. Oh, she's a side chick. I'm not saying that.
Exactly.
But I'm saying there are some women out there like now. But I'm gonna say this.
Uh-oh.
You might be okay with being a side chick for a season. Every side chick wants to be the main one. You can't tell me eventually you don't want that number 1 position. You don't want that man for yourself. I just can't see anyone for a season, and usually you're doing everything you can to get that.
Right.
number one position.
Unless she's very superficial. And some
unless she's,
women
and
are
maybe
like
there are
that.
some
So she's
yes,
getting
yes.
all the
There are
benefits.
women who
Yes.
value
Right.
lifestyle over connection.
Maybe so.
That's
It's what they
Yeah.
can get. It's what they can
Yeah.
get. Yeah. If right, they're the side chick and he's taking care of this.
He's
And that's not,
saying-
Right.
that's not,
Right.
here's the thing, that's not
Uh-huh.
a bad thing to that community of people that live like that. To y'all, again,
I feel like this is a void eventually, because I will go back to spiritual every time.
Yes.
You cannot continue to fill that void. You want to know where that void? You can sit up there and fill it with drugs, alcohol, sex, being the freaking side chick, having him pay for this or
Right.
that. That void will still be there. You will never
Sure
feel
will.
it. There's only one person that can do that,
That's
and
right.
that is, I don't mean to be spiritual, but to me it's a relationship with God and getting to
Yes.
know yourself
That
and
is
being
true.
happy with you.
however,
Yes. Yes.
you have to talk about staying in your lane.
Mm.
There's some people just like that. You know what I'm
But
saying?
are they happy? I know they're just like that.
Are they
We
happy?
all have been kind of out there. You know what I'm saying? We can go back to our days, our
Yes.
youthful days. I haven't always been like this. Not in
Correct. We all evolve.
But yeah, okay. But we've all evolved. But eventually, there was that void. Eventually, I was not happy. So I think the reason we have these conversations is because I don't want people to wait until they get in their 40s and 50s to get to that point. You will continue to have that void
Mhm.
unless you get that right and then deal with yourself, your trauma, your issues.
There's
You
so
will-
many
yes. consequences
consequences that you have to deal
Yes.
with as
And you don't want to deal with those consequences.
Okay, well, let me say this. You know how difficult it is to deal with your trauma? How dirty and dark.
Of
and
course.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So why deal with that? Think about it. Why deal with that if you don't have to?
Well, because eventually it's going to deal with you. Now, you may feel, as she said, you may feel comfortable for a season doing what you do and thinking that you're okay. But in essence, most women that say that they're comfortable with that are really lying to
Yeah, I
themselves.
agree with that.
Yeah, because I've had friends who have said things like, when they're frustrated with relationships that have failed for one reason or another, and say things like, well, I'm fine, I'm gonna be the side chick, or I'm just gonna date men for money, and they say those things, and even getting in relationships and telling a man, I'm okay, this just is what it is. They're never okay.
I agree
Women
with
are
that.
emotional. We connect emotionally.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, all it does is destroy that woman on the inside. And little by little, you're chopping at your own self-esteem, your
Yes.
self-worth,
Yes.
your emotions. Your self-destructing is what really begins to happen with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But
That's
on
very
the
cool.
outside, on the gram,
Oh, yeah.
On the
I'm getting
gram.
what I
Oh,
want,
yeah.
I'm getting what I
Oh, yeah.
need, I'm satisfied, I don't care.
And-
But you will care.
Yes.
And by the time you care, it's almost too late because there's so much baggage
Mm-hmm.
that it's unreal. Yeah.
No, you're right. Hey, listen. That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this is a race that people have to run themselves.
That's right.
What makes you three happy is not gonna make the next person happy.
That's right.
Again, y'all are different. Y'all are of age. You know what you want, and so it's just a large portion of even women that are older that have been side chicks and are comfortable. They don't want to be married because marriage is, man, I'm telling you, y'all been married. That wedding day
Not
is
me,
beautiful. I know that wedding
Thank
day
you.
is beautiful. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? You had two husbands. You know what I'm
Go
saying?
there again.
Had two husbands. You know what I'm
You
saying?
gotta say the numbers.
Had two eyes. First somebody over here. And so, you just have to run your own race.
Yeah.
But you want the best for women.
Yes.
Y'all are strong women. And
Yeah.
you see it, you know what I'm saying? And it's just a wedge that has been put in between men and women, and it's tough.
And I agree with running your own race. But I think that you have to get to a mature place where you actually are willing to learn from someone else, though.
But does it have to be
Because-
marriage, though?
Say that again.
Does it have to be marriage? Were we convinced that marriage is the cure-all? I no longer believe that.
I don't believe marriage is the cure-all. But if you want to be in a secure relationship, then I think that should be the destination.
Okay.
Because marriage is a wonderful
wonderful thing. It's a wonderful institution.
It's good when it's good.
It's good when it's good.
So what is the takeaway? I know, what is the takeaway for our viewers? What can they, I mean, to me, I think we have said it again and again that it's all about self and putting the work in and not running from that. Because eventually you're going to have to deal with it, and it is going to affect every area in your life, whether that, it just will. So that, I mean, for me, I think it's putting in the work. I mean, for me, I think women, we have a community, we talk to each other, and that's therapy sometimes too. Just getting it out, seeing some of the same things, similarities, the things that we go through. But for men, I think, is that the missing link? To have more men do the self, and women too, because there are still women, we've got to do the self work, and in the Black community, sometimes there's that stigma in terms of getting therapy, getting help. But I think we're coming to a point where we're doing better with that, and we talk about that now. But what do you want to say to the men? Because we need our Black men to get back in position, get that self-help, get back in the position, the head that we want you all to be.
Because at the end of the day, we do want the Black man.
Yes.
And we want to be in relationship with him. And the thing, and if he could posture himself to treat us like a queen, we will definitely crown him as king.
Completely.
Completely. Beyonce did not sing "Cater to You" for nothing.
We
have that in us.
Sure do.
We just have to.
Sure do.
And we want to bring it out.
I see. Yes,
you know what? Y'all make some incredible points. I think it starts with, and it ends with, begins and ends with men doing the work. But it's we talked about this. It's so scary for men to be transparent because they've been hurt. We've been hurt.
There are women ready to be open.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
But it takes a special man to say, "I've been hurt. I believe in you. You know what I'm saying? I want to do this, and wherever it takes us, that's fine." Okay. But I do believe as the head of the household, we have to heal ourselves. And so once we heal ourselves, our lens will be different.
Yes.
I don't have to go overseas. I have a woman here.
And then you'll be open also when we talk about energy, connecting with another whole person.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's what's when you get back, when you get your healing, and you'll know, because you'll be able to connect, and you'll be able to sense that, connecting, us getting healing and connecting with the right person and building some powerful relationships and connections. So for the next generation, now we get back to we love marriage.
And
we
then
love
you
each
have
other.
a positive example. What do they
Yes.
have to look forward to if
That's
we
right.
don't fix it?
And build our communities and such,
That's
because
right.
the communities, what's the root?
Exactly.
What's the
agree.
foundation?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And the men as the head, we need you all.
However.
Yes.
However.
Well, I don't however, David.
I gotta say this.
We were trying to set it up, David.
No.
It was right there.
No, you was trying.
We're trying to tie it together.
But the problem is, I'm gonna tell y'all something, and I shouldn't say this. I'm
But
gonna
he's
say it because I'm a guest of this show. The problem is that men are afraid to get hurt. And once you hurt him, and I said this earlier, once you hurt a man, it takes years to get over that. Because we chose a woman to go deep with, and it did not work.
You chose the wrong woman.
But we don't. But it does not matter.
So So here it is to the men out there. We all made wrong choices. We all have been hurt.
That is true.
But now it's time for every one of us to get the help that we need. And once you get the help that you need and do the work, then you start connecting. Be careful who you connect with that next go round.
That is true.
Yeah.
Two healthy people need to be together. That is the takeaway.
But you don't know
And
who's
take your
healthy.
time.
You don't know who's healthy though.
That's
gotta
why we
take your
take the
time.
time.
What
to-
is healthy is what
You'll
does
know
healthy
it.
look like?
When you
You'll
become
know it.
healthy,
When you are healthy,
you will know it.
Okay. All right.
You will know it.
I'm learning something today.
And we gonna wrap this up. Hey, tune in next time for another episode of Black Coffee Conversations. We'll see you.
Peace.
Bye.